Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tony Shen. So if you've seen some of my videos before, you'll be kind of surprised at where I'm at right now. I'm actually not in my usual big, nice studio. I'm in my apartment in LA. This is more like a dorm style room. Not exactly the best place to set up a studio. I'm actually back in LA for a little bit just to get away from home, find some new sources of inspiration, and just chill for a little bit. So this is gonna be my studio for now. I'm still unpacking my stuff, so I thought I could use this opportunity to give you guys a rundown of how to build a studio for as cheap as possible for making beats. Just for making beats, you know, like not considering recording all this stuff, just for making beats. I'm gonna go over like your most essential equipment for as cheap as possible and how to make your space as best suited for making beats as possible. So I'm gonna try to keep a tight budget because that's the situation I'm in right now. Basically, I'll take an opportunity to talk about like your most essential pieces of equipment and like other additional stuff that you may add on to help. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so starting with number one, your most important piece of equipment is a laptop. Now, I'm assuming that most of you guys have access to like a computer already. So that's why I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about it, but literally any type of laptop could help. Like when you're just starting out making beats, there's no reason for you to upgrade to a really expensive laptop just for the sake of making beats. Like when I first started making beats, I had like a $400 laptop on Windows that didn't run the most effectively, like didn't have the most decked out CPU, but still worked. And you could run your most basic software for making beats on it. Like FL Studio doesn't take that much CPU to do. So first, most essential, like everything else is kind of optional, but like your laptop is the most important tool, right? Because that's where you run your software on. So once you get your laptop, another important thing you need to have is a DAW or digital audio workstation. This is where most beats are made nowadays. All you need to do is run an application from your laptop and you have basically all the tools you need to make beats, right? This is where you can drag and drop and create your melodies and add drums and mix and add effects and stuff like that. Any DAW really works. I'm not gonna push for one specific type. It really depends on what type of person you are and like your personality and other stuff like that. I'm running FL Studio. It's actually available on Mac, and I actually have a video breaking down FL Studio on Mac if that's what you currently have and you're thinking about getting FL Studio. The version that I have is only $200. I have the producer edition. It doesn't come with as many plugins as the most expensive version, which is the signature edition has, but it has everything you need, all the essential plugins, and all the other stuff like I actually wanted to buy myself. Like I didn't think it was that necessary for me to upgrade that much. So that's my current DAW. But if you're on Mac, there are other amazing DAWs you could use. Logic Pro is only available on Mac and it's great. It's I think about the same price, $200, and it's very great for you to use. You can also get Ableton if you're on Windows and Mac, and there's other DAWs that I think are less commonly used, like Cubase, Studio One, a bunch of other cool stuff. I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can check all of them out. But I recommend you watching a DAW specific video breaking down each specific DAW because right now we're mostly gonna cover hardware and like pieces of equipment that you could add to deck out your studio. Okay, up next we have headphones. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually ranking all these items by order of priority. So like fundamentally you need a laptop, and then once you get a laptop, fundamentally you need a DAW. And after that, I'd say your third most important thing you need to have in your studio is your headphones. Now there's a huge range in terms of budgets for headphones. I'm using the Seinnheiser HD 650s. I think the ones that I'm using, they cost around like $400 to $500. You don't need to spend that much money on headphones, especially when you're just starting out. There are tons of amazing choices that range from anywhere from like $80 to $160. You don't need to spend that much money on headphones. Honestly, at a certain point, like the amount of benefits that you get for cost kind of diminishes. But the reason I think that headphones are really important because that's your most reliable way of listening to your beats. Like you could play them on speakers or other, you know, like AirPods or whatever, but having a solid set of headphones will take you a long way in terms of like refining your mix and then just understanding like what your beat sounds like in a reliable and realistic way. I always recommend mixing in headphones because it gives you like a more fine-tuned way of listening to everything, and it's a lot more clear for you. I think Audio Technica has some amazing headphones. AKG has some great headphones as well. And also Shure also has some great headphones, so I'll link them in the description for you guys to check out. Okay, up next we're going into the section where things are a little bit more optional and they're not as important but still great to have. So up next we have speakers. I don't know if you guys seen my other older videos and you've seen like my actual my studio setup back home, but I have some pretty decent monitors on both sides. They're held up with stands and they're connected to my interface. Pretty good, right? This is what I have now. It's a cheap like $100 JBL Flip 4 shower speakers. They're waterproof, which is nice. There are a few advantages to having speakers over headphones. One is like your ears get less tired. Like if you worn headphones for a prolonged period of time, your ears get kind of tired and you're blasting in your ear and it doesn't get as comfortable, right? So that's one advantage to having speakers. The other thing is you can play your beats for other people to listen to. So those are your main sources of advantages. But in terms of like actually refining your music through speakers, like obviously I won't refine master beats through a JBL Flip 4 speaker, but then again you can. I think EXO Tour Life, the beat was made through a beat pill. So you can, there's nothing stopping you. But I think still in terms of like, if you want the best audio quality, still your headphones are gonna be your go-to. Up next, let's talk about MIDI controllers. So if you have any type of musical experience, if you played keys or if you played piano or something growing up, you know that your MIDI controller is gonna be like one of your best friends when it comes to making music. It's not that important because you can still get a lot done by clicking in notes into your computer, and like most of my tutorials that I make on how to make beats actually involve you just clicking. When it comes to actually creating and coming up with great ideas, your MIDI controller is your best friend. Like if you have any type of piano or keys experience, having this controller just really eases up things and gives you a lot of pathways to knowing how to create. Like there's only so much you can do by clicking in notes through your laptop, right? But having a keyboard just offers so much more room for creativity and also allows you for having better control over how much you can express. Obviously, by clicking in notes in the laptop, you can program certain things to go up and down, right? And have things change to create expression. But with a controller, you can do that in real time, which I think is always more realistic and just sounds better. Now the ones I'm using are only like $100. This is the Akai MKIII Mini. Very, very cheap and very handy to carry around. So you can literally, like I could slip this into my backpack and then carry it to some sessions. So very, very handy. We're getting into more, I'd say like less important things if you're just starting out producing. These are the things that you don't really necessarily need, but are helpful if you want to expand your game, right? So for the beginner producer, you're most likely not going to need this, but it's still handy to have if you want to build up experience and want to go deeper into production. So up next, we have microphones. Now, I'll show you my microphones. They're not actually that expensive. This one is a USB mic, and this one is an XLR mic. So it uses these types of cables. USB mic I have is because it's very easy and all you have to do is plug it into your computer and it works instantly. You don't need to set up anything. You don't need to worry about wiring. All you have to do is plug this in, use it into your laptop. And I use this mostly for videos just because I don't want to deal with all that wiring and stuff like that. But with a USB mic, you have less control over like the amount of gain that comes in. There's a lot of like other processes that slow down your recording speed. So I mostly just use this for videos. This is the same exact model as my USB mic. It's like the same exact model except it's just XLR. Again, this was like $100. I think this was $100, but it is discontinued last time I checked. So I'll link some other great USB mics. This one I use for like if I want to record guitars or like vocals, or if I wanted to record some squirrels or birds like that. Like it'll give me more control and it'll allow me, like when I set it up, it allows me to control the amount of gain I have and balance everything and make sure things aren't clipping or make sure I don't have too much room noise. So this is good because it offers more control. XLR mic, better for having more control, having better overall sound quality in my opinion, better speed. USB mic, convenience. I plug it in for my videos. Now, in the topic of microphones, with this microphone, the XLR microphone, it doesn't, as you can see, obviously, there's no computer in the world that has this type of input, right? So what you are going to need if you're using a microphone is an audio interface. This one, the one that I have is the Scarlett Solo 3rd generation. You connect this into this input, and with this knob, you're able to control the gain. You can also connect studio monitors like speakers and your headphone. So having an audio interface is pretty convenient if you have a bunch of stuff that you need to wire together, and it lets you, adjust your volume easily and allows you to control the amount of gain you have on your microphone. And it just has everything, and you can also record guitars. If you have an electric guitar or like some type of instrument, you can also hook that up here and I'll record the input for you. Audio interface is nice, but unless you have a guitar or microphones that you need to use, or like big studio monitors that you need to attach, it's very unnecessary. And I'd say save your money for something else if you're not going to record anything, or if you're just gonna use it to like plug in your headphones or something, right? Like, it's not that necessary. So that's why I'm putting it a little bit later in the list. Okay, last but not least is storage. As you expand your audio projects, as you make more projects, or as you're downloading more audio files and you need more storage space for your computer, like you're downloading more, you're buying more VSTs, you're buying plugins with huge audio libraries that need a lot of space, or you're just working on a lot of stuff and you're recording a lot of vocals and have a lot of audio files, you are going to need to expand your storage. Now, the reason I'm doing this last is because, again, this is assuming that you're just starting out and you don't have any files to begin with. So you're not gonna need it right away. But here I have two forms of like external storage, right? This is just a regular hard drive. This is 2 terabytes. The pro for having one of these is a lot cheaper, and you can get huge like amounts of storage, like 5 terabytes, 10 terabytes for like relatively cheap. The bad thing is they're very slow. So say you have files that you need to access here quickly from your computer, it's going to take a lot of time to do. Or say you wanted to export a lot of stuff into here, it has a very slow write speed. That's the downside, is that they are slower, but they are cheaper. This right here is an SSD or solid state drive. It's, I think, just 1 terabyte. The pro for this is that it's a lot faster. Like, this is super fast. There's virtually no lag time when I write stuff to here, like when I export my projects here or when I access certain sound files from here. The con is that it is pretty expensive, right? Like 1 terabyte worth of this is more than like a 5 terabyte hard drive in some cases. So I'm using a Samsung 1 terabyte SSD, and this one is a Toshiba. I think it's 2 terabytes. I don't know if it says here, but it's 2 terabytes. That's the last thing I want to show you guys. A lot of this stuff, I'm just explaining the significance behind the equipment and like giving you certain circumstances where you would need them. You don't actually need to buy them if you're a beginner producer, but they are just there in case you're interested in learning more about them, or want to find ways to expand your workplace. But the moral of the story is you don't need that much to start making beats. All you need is an attitude and a passion for music, and your laptop, and a solid DAW, and some good headphones. That will get you a long way. Like, I made some of my best beats having access to only some of these on a $400 computer. So you don't need to deck out everything, because music doesn't come from the hardware, it doesn't come from the equipment, it comes from your soul. And if you have that, that's all you need, baby. That's all I have for today. If you found this video to be useful, please hit the subscribe button. I have a lot more videos coming up, and I actually have a lot of videos that are recorded back home in Maryland, so don't be surprised when I upload stuff and I happen to be back in Maryland. Those are just videos that are recorded from the past that are in my video vault. So thank you guys so much. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment what you guys want to see next, and peace out.